everyone ready? Are our panelists ready? Yeah. Is our audience ready? Everybody's feeling good. All right. So welcome to our next session of the day. So for context, my name is Tracy Kaufman. If you haven't met me before, I think I know a lot of you already. Community Outreach Manager. I've been here for 10 years, as has my boss, Tim Patton. We're going 10 years here at Foundation Center now. Wonderful. But I'll be leading the discussion for this next session here, which I hope you will find really useful. So thus far, throughout the day, you've mainly been getting kind of a really nice high-level overview of what different kinds of partnerships and collaborations look like between funders themselves, between funders and nonprofits, between nonprofits and nonprofits, etc. But there's been a strong focus on the telling of stories. We've been hearing a lot of real-life examples. It's been a very abstract storytelling based approach so far. This piece of the day, I like to call this the time when we exit the abstract and enter the concrete. And so this is going to be all about, so you've decided that it's a good idea to form a collaboration of some sort, whether it's with a funder, another organization, or God knows what else. And so this is all about what do you do next? What are going to be your approaches for how you're going to get started? Where do you need to go? What kind of information do you need to gather? And where are you going to get that information? So let me introduce my panelists here today. Let's start over here and work over here. We'll start with Tracy Waxler, is our Director of Subscription Products here at Foundation Center. She is the utmost expert on all of our data-based technology tools, which are great for funder research and nonprofit research as well. So she knows her stuff inside and out, and she's going to tell you everything you need to know about when you go on your fact-finding missions about finding potential partners. Next, we have Kim Patton, who is Director of Foundation Center Northeast, which encompasses both our New York office of Foundation Center here and our Washington, D.C. office and the entire geographic region in between. She and I have both been here 10 years, and she is actually also my boss.
She's getting a raise for this.
I was
actually. Class dismissed.
And Kim has preempted my bid. I was about to ask if this would be a bad time to ask for a raise.
Let's collaborate.
But yeah, Kim is going to tell us all about all kinds of other terrific resources that you'll be able to connect with as you're forming some strategic partnerships in your work. Next, we have Lakinja Maddox, who is representing the Support Center for Nonprofit Management, who also shares our space with us. Ever since the spring, if we're talking collaboration, let's talk collaboration. Foundation Center and the Support Center have been cohabitating in this very office since March of this year. I like to think it's been a pretty nice partnership so far, don't you?
It's been amazing. It's like a marriage, right? So, you have your space in the closet. You have to make space together. Exactly. And so it's been an amazing ride thus far, and we really enjoy being here.
Glad to hear it. But yeah, with the Support Center, they provide all kinds of fantastic trainings to the nonprofit community. And Lakinja is Associate Director of Strategic Partnerships. That's your correct title?
There's a bit more. It's really long. Associate Director of Strategic Partnerships. And learning.
And learning.
Yes, and learning.
Learning too. But yes, these are our three fantastic panelists today. And they're going to share with you everything they know. All right. So let's talk about what you do when you decide you want to form a partnership. So before we really completely dive in, let's talk about how we're going to define the word collaboration. It's a very, very broad term to use. So you guys, how are you defining the word collaboration? What are the things that you mean?
I'll jump in and start. I would say partnership. Simply put, working together. Living together in the same space.
Yeah, I'd say that. It could be from something really informal, like doing a joint program together, or sharing a marketing list, to sharing space, that to something really formal, like a merger and acquisition, things like that. But when we talk about collaboration, I think we typically mean sharing of resources, whatever that means.
And I'll piggyback on that and simply say that I think of it sort of as like achieving your end game, right? And if we're all looking to make a certain impact, you may have certain strengths and weaknesses in your organization. You're going to want to partner with someone who can sort of fill in those weaknesses so it's a really nice complement and make you more attractive to a funder, because oftentimes, funders will look at the landscape and say, no one organization or nonprofit can get us to that end goal, right? So how do we piece that together to have the biggest impact? And oftentimes that's by, finding complementary players, and those complements can be someone can get from like point A to point B, the other person can get from point B to point C, or they could be someone's got strength in marketing, someone's got strength in subject matter expertise, but the sum is greater than its parts, and that's kind of the mindset that I can do.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And kind of piggybacking on that, Kim and Lakimja, do you also have thoughts on some of the other common reasons why organizations might decide they want to form a partnership with another group?
So no matter where you are fiscally, you always want to be financially responsible for your organization. So even if you're operating in the black and doing really well as it relates to your diverse funding stream, you can always utilize funds better and more efficiently. So I would say cost and cost savings. Another one would be sustainability. Something that Tracy touched on is finding a partner that covers or might have a niche area that might not be your strong suit. And so that would be a great reason to approach a partnership and work to better serve the community.
I would like to add to that I think that as many different partnerships as you can think of, there are many different purposes behind it. But all of these are very good reasons, but you can have your own reasons. There's a ton of reasons to partner with people. But I will say that you have to go into it knowing what that person's purpose is for yourself and for that partnership. So I'd like to say start off by knowing yourself, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your funding base is, what your constituent base is, what your values and beliefs are, and then from that, clearly define whether or not you do want to collaborate, because I know Tracy said, so now you've all decided that you want to collaborate. I think probably after hearing all this, you're like, do I want to collaborate? That's mostly what ends up happening, right? So the first question is even that, like, do you want to collaborate or not? We'll get into some of the like benefits as well as challenges with that. But once you decide, just have a clear purpose in mind of what you're trying to achieve through that partnership.
Great. And so as we're talking about those types of things, what are some of the most common pitfalls you think that are going to come up when people start off on these collaborations? I heard someone say, it was like 5 years ago, who knows, maybe that person is in the room today, but they're like, hey, that was my idea. About 5 years ago, I heard an executive director of an organization say that the biggest problem that comes up, the biggest sticking point, is egos and logos. And it's always stuck with egos and logos, egos and logos. What else beyond that? What do you think are some of the major pitfalls that come up again and again when someone is embarking on collaboration?
I'll take one. So I think part of it is how you start, right? And have the expectations and deliverables been clearly defined? Does everyone have a role? Does everyone understand their role? What they're expected to bring to the table? And they're the parameters within that, right? So if you start a partnership with clear expectations and clear definitions of who's going to do what and to what degree, right? You're managing the expectations and you have a clear, common understanding of what they are. You're setting yourself up for more success than failure, right? But if people just go in with a lot of that stuff very undefined and kind of loosey-goosey, because, oh, we get along great, we've known each other for years, we feel wonderful about each other. It hasn't defined what everyone's gonna do. And that just sets you up for misunderstandings and disappointment. It's better to do that kind of heavy lifting up front, and then the roadmap and the path forward is much smoother.
So, that question to me sounds like, what are some of the major pitfalls of a marriage? There are tons of pitfalls, but having been there's a person who's been married for 25 years, I can boil them down to two things. All the pitfalls come down to
Egos and logos.
It's all about that. Communication and money. That's really it. Like being really open and honest, communicating what's working, what's not working, the challenges, the roles, the responsibilities, and a lot of that happens before you even enter into the partnership. We talked a lot before we decided to move in together. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is, collaboration takes a lot of time and money. There are costs involved in collaboration and a lot of time. So a lot of times it comes down to, like, we talk about these kind of things, like we have joint funders and we're collaborating. Does that mean our funders are gonna think that we don't have to fund both of you anymore? We can just, cut it in half and give you both a little bit of what you used to have. And even with that, if you fundraise together programmatically, because I think it's an opportunity to do some fundraising around that. How is that money going to be divvied up, and spent? So in the end of the day, I think those can be a lot of the pitfalls is really the communication and the finance.
And just to add one more thing, something to think about is organizational culture and alignment, and that's really important. So before moving in, I'm sure both teams had or took the opportunity to really engage their teams and their staff to make sure that there was alignment as well as the organizational culture there that is open and accepting of others in their space, right? Because just like moving in with someone, you're moving into their space, but then how do you work together to make it our space, right? And so that's something that's really important.
Great. All right. So let's say someone comes up today and approaches you, and they say, "I want to start partnering with some like-minded organizations to try to amplify my impact." What exactly would be the first things you would instruct them to do? What would be the very first things you would say to them?
So a tool that we use and that Tracy's gonna talk about a little bit more is XDO Online. And looking at different 990s, the 990 tells you so much about an organization. And so who are their funders? What projects are they, who are their funders? What projects are they doing? Is there some form of mission and vision alignment? Is there a way to approach funders together? You're doing a lot of information gathering in the initial stages. So I would definitely go to XDO Online as a resource to do some fact digging as well as their website.
And I'll add to that if you do go to FBO Online, you in theory should not have to pay to go to the FBO 990. Right? We've done all that, last resort is easy. We've done that heavy lifting for you so that you can look at all the information that is buried in the 990. We've sort of elevated it and provided it in the format where you can get insights and stuff. So that enables you to work smarter, not harder. And that's, as we've increased our infrastructure, process a lot more grants than we ever did before. This year I'm trying to process 4 million. You don't have to go digging and looking into that needle in a haystack anymore. You got it.
So it's like online dating. Swipe to the right.
Yeah.
So, what I want to say about that is, y'all gonna learn a lot about marriage and dating, so, I like to make the analogy, so find maybe people with similar missions, but you have to date them first, get to know them, find out about, their culture, their values and beliefs and things like that. You can't just walk up to a person and say, you know what, I looked you up online, as great a tool as it is, and I've decided that I want to collaborate with you. Really? That's what they would say. So I think the first place to start is to look in your own backyard, your community, with organizations that you know and that have maybe worked with before. You know their reputation, you know their visibility, really. And start off small. Just like, see if you can do a program together first. Let's just start there before we start expanding into a systematic change or greater impact or organizational efficiency, which are all the reasons why you would want to partner, but start off small and then work your way up. So start with somebody I would say. Yeah. And then next go to somebody like in Foundation Directory Online that you can see has a similar or compatible mission. They don't even have to be doing the same thing you're doing. I know organizations that do two separate things, and I know you've heard examples of that even today, that have come together in a really unique and innovative way. So it can go either way. In the case of Support Center and Foundation Center, we're very similar in our missions and our approach and our values and our beliefs. And so it seemed like a natural fit, but other times it might be two totally different missions that come together and work nicely together in an innovative way. And that's really what funders, I think, are looking for, either to leverage their resources with similar organizations or find new and innovative approaches that, you've come together and done through a partnership. That's interesting and exciting.
Great. And so just to get a sense of the room here, how many here would consider yourselves a small organization? Quite a few. How many would consider yourself a large organization? All right, we'll be handful. How many would consider yourself somewhere in between? All right, and some of you are consultants. Yes, that's a good point. A consultant can be the midwife. Remember that forever. Okay, so I asked this question because I'm wondering, what would your advice be for a very small organization who is attempting to approach a much larger entity, whether it's a larger nonprofit or a big funder, about a potential collaboration, and vice versa? What do you think the incentive could be for a larger organization to want to get mixed up with a smaller organization?
I'd like to address that. We at the Foundation Center collaborate and partner with lots of organizations, and I know in the DC office where I work out of, a lot of times we do partner with smaller organizations, just because for me, it could be a little easier because they're a little more flexible, a little bit more nimble than if I wanted to partner with a large organization. There could be a lot of lawyers and paperwork involved, a lot of bureaucratic stuff that I don't want to get involved with. But what would make me want to partner with a smaller organization is that their nimbleness, their flexibility, their roots in the community, their connection to a certain population group that I want to serve. I know that you work with underprivileged Black males, I think. Yeah, so that might be a group that I want to connect with, that I want to do more for. So I might partner with an organization like this to reach a certain audience, a certain community, or to focus on a specific subject matter that I don't necessarily have the expertise in. In a lot of those ways, in terms of capacity building, we can be generalists in terms of specific subject matter. So I might come to you for that connection. So I would say overall, know your value and what you bring to the table, because it's not always about quantity. It's a lot about, the deep connections that you have in your network, in your community, with the populations that you serve. So a lot of times that's really attractive to me.
Yeah, and, you know, for smaller organizations, and you see this replicated in other business sectors, right? Where they're not so entrenched, with their own internal infrastructure. So at Kim's point, they're much more nimble, they can be more innovative because they're starting from scratch. If they're not only small, but relatively new. And a lot of times innovation will come from new organizations who aren't wedded to the way they've always done things. Now, you know, in this day and age, all organizations need to be wedded to what's next, you know, and how things will be done. But oftentimes, smaller organizations can thrive on that faster. So to partner with a larger organization, you get some of the stability and resources of the larger, more entrenched party, yet you bring your subject matter expertise, your innovation to that. And that combination is really powerful. Really powerful.
All right, so after this next question, I think we'll jump headfirst into the specific resources that are gonna kind of help you along the way. But first, like especially if you're a small organization, because it looked like the largest number of hands that went up was for small nonprofits. But even if you're kind of a large, maybe older institution that might have some kind of rusty processes, rusty infrastructure, what do you think you need to have in place to kind of get your house in order, get your ducks in a row to be ready to start working alongside another organization? What are some of the main priorities that you should start focusing on first along those lines?
One thing I can think about is a group of people or a team who are willing to do the work and move it forward. If you don't have a team in place and you don't have others in leadership supporting that team to move it forward, then it is definitely something that can fall through the cracks because then it doesn't become a priority.
I think so. I was thinking capacity, but that's exactly it. But I was also thinking like successes. I wanted to say track record, but that might make you feel like you have been doing it for a long time. And I like what you were saying about innovation, and so a lot of times new organizations can bring that, but I would want to see some impact or some successes that you've had already. And it's also nice to see that you have some funding under your belt. And if you've had any kind of other partnerships, even very informal ones, I would want to see, you know, how will you play in the sandbox? You know, are you used to working together, sharing your resources and that kind of thing? Because a big deal with collaborations is trust. You have to really be comfortable with sharing, you know, a lot of things. Sometimes you're sharing your budgets, your salary, you just are, because a lot of that can get into those kind of conversations. So at the very least, you're sharing resources, whatever that is, you know, your constituents, mailing lists, marketing information, funder information. So, you know, I think trust is a very big issue on both sides, and feeling like you're going to bring something to the table as well as I'm bringing something to the table. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So I would want to see what you're bringing to the table. So kind of know what those things are.
To add or show me?
No, I think for me, it always comes around to like that transparency of setting those expectations up front. And, you know, from at core, I'm a product manager, right? So we always work to KPIs, key performance indicators, right? Because we have objectives and targets that we're trying to hit, because that's how you iteratively get the work done, right? You can't say, you know, someday we're going to put a man on the moon, right? First you have to say, okay, we need to build a rocket. We need to do this. Like, so there are little iterative steps along the way, and if you define those, and if you mutually commit to, okay, this is the arc of the project, this is the arc of the collaboration, then everyone clearly is kind of in sync and working towards that. So if step A is going to take 10 tasks, does everyone, do we have ownership for all of those 10 tasks? You know, and you know, trust is earned, And then when there's that kind of transparency and clarity about who's doing what, it makes everything more easy, right? Because then the misunderstanding of, well, I thought that was covered by so and so, well, you know, like where? Because you read it one night? You know, so it's not about being rigid, it's about like, hey, I got this part, you got that part, great, let's go.
Great. So now that we've covered some of that groundwork, let's jump into some specific resources that people in this room could conceivably use and have access to that can help point them in the right direction when they're embarking upon a collaboration. I feel like we might want to start with Tracy Waxler on this one. You want to give us an idea of how Foundation Directory can help you
Show
with
it,
process?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to. You show it how every day. Okay. So I've been doing a lot of this because if any of you have ever used Foundation Directory online, we recently completely changed the interface. And this isn't a demo on FDO per se, but what I've done here is I've done a quick search for, I'm logged in, it knows my, I need a mic. I'm getting that, I need a mic. One moment. Okay, so this is how you use FDO with one hand. Well, you know, we're gonna find out. So, I'm logged in, I work for Foundation Center, I said, okay, I'm gonna look for, now I need to use it.
No problem.
Oh, that's okay, I got it. So, what I'm seeing here is a result of philanthropy. We work nationally, so I haven't set a location. This is the search that I'm doing for philanthropy. Because it knows that I work for Foundation Center, what I'm seeing is a list of grant makers and this little green icon of past funders. And I can, not take a little something, but I can start to see all of these folks who are involved with funding philanthropy, and very weak one was mentioned, but now I'm going to take a look at the whole. So we're actually doing pretty well. We've got funding from all of these folks, and what I'm going to start to look for is wow, we're still 15. So here. So we are going to. But guys, so all of a sudden I'm starting to see funders that are not identified as past funders for us. So now I'm going to wonder how I can get to them, right? So I'm going to go back to that search results list, and I'm going to start looking at the grant information. And when this populates, see that 990 thing, we're not going there. That's just working too hard. We got too much. Well, we're not right? Anybody do just one thing? I don't see anything. So I'm starting to see recipients. Oops, there we go. I don't know why this is going so slowly today, but it's because we're demoing. So I'm starting to see all these recipients. So these are people who are potential partners. And it's a demo, so we get bugs. So let me just do a quick refresher. So in a perfect world where this worked properly, so we get a grants list, and when we look at the grants list, we see that there are 23,000 recipients, a whole lot of tax forms, and there we go. Okay, Mad Wireless. So now I'm starting to see a grants list where I'm seeing our past funders, I'm seeing recipients. These are all people where we share usual funders. So we've got a track record. So if I were to go look to Meyer Memorial Trust and start to partner and say, you know, I alone can't get you to your defined impact levels, but here are all these other folks that you've also funded along with me, who I could possibly collaborate on this issue. Say this for health, not philanthropy, right? You know us all. You support us all. We want you to support us even more. But we're all going to get you to that end game. Right, so these grant lists can be really important to start to flush out some of that. and before I take up too much of my time going through all this in the weeds, I'm gonna see if you guys wanna jump in on any of this. But I always think of collaboration, not necessarily from like who's collaborating, but go to mission first, find the common connectors, and then those are natural partners. Some of these organizations may have strengths that I don't have. Some of them may have capacity that on any given time I don't have because of other projects I'm working on, so that we can still continue to sort of kick the can down the road and make progress.
All right. So maybe Lakeisha, do you want to go next on your resources?
Sure. Some of the ways that we have helped people to collaborate are through our different convenings. So, small scale that has happened through our workshops that we offer. Support Center offers anywhere between 60 and 80 workshops annually on areas of staff development, org development. And what we do is we're very intentional of the design of the workshop. And so one of the tools that everyone receives in the workshop is they'll get not only just the list of names and the orgs, they'll also get the email addresses for everyone who is in the room. And so through interactive activities and interactive activities, which include small group activities, people are already starting to work together on issues that are important to them. And so after the workshop happens, we also say, make sure that you're connecting with these individuals, not only within this workshop space, but outside, so that you can move whatever issue forward. We also facilitate communities of practice, both within our certificate programs, but also not only with our certificate programs, but also with our affiliate consultants. And so this is a space to workshop issues and problems, and they become a resource for each other. And so those are some of the ways that we do it internally, but the ways in which we help organizations is sometimes through convenings. And so through our partnership with the Department of Youth and Community Development, we hosted 2 symposiums all about being stronger together. And so that is unfortunately only open to DYCD grantees, and anyone else who works and partners with DYCD. But over the past 2 years, we have been able to work with over 500 different people from organizations and helping them to foster collaborations from joint, from informal partnerships like marketing to larger partnerships in thinking about whether or not a merger or acquisition might be the best thing for them, or if they want to dissolve their organization because they've done all that they set out to do, and so they would just like to move forward. So we've been able to help organizations in that way.
See a lot of FU action back.
Yeah, so I'm just, what I've been doing is looking and saying, so you may be looking for folks who have got funding levels that you don't have, right? So one of the things that you can do is you can send a funding range to try to target recipients, potential partners who are just funded at a higher degree than you want. And if you're that small organization, you come in and you say, you've got the money, I've got this innovation, I've got this expertise, right? So, I think we can do something here. So that's, another way that you can use this kind of research tool to really get you where you need to be. You can also segment it, and I'm not going to do it here because they're wireless, but you can also take a look and say, I want to partner with community foundations, right? So all I have to do in that instance is go and set the org type in the advanced search to a community foundation. Or I want to partner with a corporate company, right? You can kind of segment and really drive into the, who are the players out there? FDO.
Right, and sort of piggyback on that, let's say that you did some programming regarding workforce development, and you thought, I wanna partner with a homeless shelter or a veterans organization. You can look in Foundation Directory Online and find organizations that work with veterans in your geographic region or in your community. And then you can begin to look at who funds them, who works with them, and develop a partnership that way. Because remember I said it doesn't even have to be similar. It could just be somebody that you feel like, you know, have this great idea and I want them to have some expertise, some knowledge with a specific subject area population group. And you can find that in Foundation Directory Online.
Yeah, and the other thing is, so let's say for sake of argument, they are similar.
Yeah.
And, you know, one example I give a lot is, you know, looking at peer recipients or quasi-peer recipients to get some idea of potential partnerships and where there are opportunities for your organization. So one example I use a lot is, I've got a homeless shelter with a 100-bed capacity in Brooklyn. You've got a homeless shelter with a 100-bed capacity in Brooklyn. I've got $100,000 worth of grant funding. You've got $500,000 worth of grant funding. We have the same capacity. We have a similar kind of budget. So, but if we don't, because I've come down shortfall, like what did you do that got you $400,000 more? So, what was your funding base? Did you actually apply for federal grants? I didn't do it because the reporting thing scared me. But there's money out there from that source, so I got to get over that fear. Maybe I partner with you to learn how you did it, learn how I can do it, and then I can better serve my community. That's a good collaboration.
Right. Because the other side of it, you go 200 capacity for the 500. What's the point?
Yeah, absolutely. You expand your impact. Absolutely. Yeah, there are a lot of different ways to slice that and look for opportunities there. We just take two and see?
Back to what Tracy was saying about smaller organizations, I've had some approach me and say, we have this grant opportunity, we want to apply for the grant, but we can get more if we partner with you to help us to implement it based on what our strengths are. But they might have the population group that I'm looking for. So sometimes that's a way to partner with a larger organization, is to bring them the opportunity and say, look, if we partner together on this, this will help you, this will help me.
Exactly. We want the smaller organizations benefiting from larger organizations' stamp of credibility.
Exactly.
So that
Right.
it's easier to get on that funder's radar.
Exactly.
And we've recently had an experience, so we're still going through the process of an experience where we're partnering with a very similar organization, and we currently have, we went for a foundation grant together to improve our data systems through Salesforce, and we successfully are working together on not only our data systems separately, but we are working together in creating an app that not only benefits our two organizations, but would benefit capacity building organizations across the board. So, yeah.
What's going on with Ford Foundation up here?
Are they gonna collaborate?
Here's another way to collaborate. Right? Let's look at who's working at Ford. Let's look at all these LinkedIn icons here. Right? If you're not on LinkedIn with a big fat network, get moving. So I'm sure most of you are now. And there are a lot of different ways to leverage it, right? If I don't have a connect, like that partnership of you and somebody in your network is going to get you to a new funder. That partnership of your alumni network is going to get you to a different funder. Another organization may come to you to partner because you've got an in it for it, to your point, right? And all of that stuff can be exposed. You know, there are a lot of organizations that don't accept unsolicited proposals. We all know that. There are even more organizations that give away a ton of money but don't have RFPs. can't wait to be asked to dance, right? You gotta go ask someone. And this is how you're gonna network, right? These are all like, you know, little small iterative collaborations that are extremely powerful and extremely important. Right.
And start small and work that out. Can you, pull up Frank's please?
Sure. All right, so now that we looked at FPO, we are gonna look at some other online tools, many of which are completely free to access anywhere, anytime. That will help you along your journey. Also, FPO, while it is a subscription product, you can also use it in our library as well. So there's that, or at one of our funding information network locations.
So just, pull up Frank's please. Frank's please. I want to show the collaboration tab.
Absolutely. So we're gonna pull grants.org. Also, I will say anecdotally, when it comes to FBO, one last thing. When I was doing the research to figure out what funders to invite to come speak at this event today, I used FBO to find funders who are very interested in the concept of collaboration, and my God, it worked. Basically, just putting in a keyword search for the word collaboration, or also running another search under the support strategy category to find funders who support collaborations, they fund collaborations, whether it's kind of looser, more informal collaborations all the way up to mergers. They all showed up. Arcus Foundation showed up, New York Community Trust, they showed up, Einhorn Family Charitable Trust, all these places showed up. So handy research whenever you're looking for funders who have an interest in the idea of collaboration as well. All right, grant space, free
So
resource.
grant space, yes, free resource, grantspace.org. As you see, collaboration is so important. It has its own tab. Yay, right there. If you click on that for me, Tracy.
All right, so up here on the top,
Yeah.
collaboration.
We have all kinds of resources related to collaboration, and one of my favorite ones is Collaboration Hub. That's actually a part of a prize that the Lodestar Foundation gives. They're in Phoenix, Arizona. They focus solely on collaborations and long-term partnerships. They emphasize long-term partnerships. But they give away $150,000. The grand prize is $150,000, and then they give $10,000 to like 8 to 10 runners up. So with that in mind, these are some of the winners, past winners of the collaboration prize. So what I like about it is you can search by location, you can search by subject, and you can search by type to find just some really interesting examples of ways that people have collaborated in unique and different ways. And as you can see, there are all kinds of different ways you can collaborate, different types of collaboration. So it's a good tool to use for just finding some interesting ideas. And if you scroll up a little bit, we just keep scrolling up. I want to get to the bottom of that page. Yeah. Keep going. Yes. So here we have a lot of curated information that a lot of our reference staff put together for you in terms of podcasts, blogs. We call it knowledge base, where you can get answers based on our knowledge, kind of pull it all together and show you our favorite links and things like that to lead you to really good information. So I liked a lot of these. I checked those out. Those blogs were very interesting. Making effective collaboration possible, 5 factors that make collaboration work, know thyself before collaborating. You can get a lot of really good information here. There are also MOUs, sample MOUs, which are memorandums of understanding, as you will probably know. It's good to get the stuff in writing. So, everything we do, from small partnerships to big partnerships, we put in writing. Now, some are just a 1-page agreement that outlines, here's what we're gonna do, here's what you're gonna do. It's just sign off on it so that we're clear, like Tracy said, for roles and responsibilities from the very beginning. So it doesn't have to be anything super detailed or complicated, but just something in writing that outlines roles and responsibilities. So they can go from 1 to 2 pages to 5 to 10, seriously, depending on how deeply we're gonna get involved. But there's some good examples up here you can find, through this link. You can adapt them to your own needs, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to things like what should we consider, what are some of the things that we should agree on before we move into this partnership. So I think that alone is like a really good resource that you can get anytime, anywhere at grantspace.org.
There's also Issue Lab is showing up down here.
Yep.
So anytime, like, if you need a story of a collaboration done right, or just research talking about different findings that have come out of different types of collaborations, Issue Lab is great. So there's a link right here, or you can also just go to issuelab.org. It's also a free site. It's always good to take note of what are the things that you can use for free anywhere, anytime. 2:00 in the morning on your couch, if you want to learn about collaboration, just go to Issue Lab. It's thousands and thousands of foundation-sponsored research reports. So you can take a look and see what kinds of partnerships have gone on and what were the results of those partnerships. You can learn, what do you do, what do you not do, who has done this successfully, who you can start prodding to start partnering with you in the future, all of that kind of good, exciting stuff.
And in addition to that, Collaboration Hub is good for that too. So if you see a good example, they go into a lot of detail about how it was formed, how it was managed, what was the impact, what were some of the challenges, what were the lessons learned. So I like to read through just a lot of them, that seemed interesting, just to find out what some of the pros and cons were based on that particular model.
One small thing I would also add is that you can even use our resources of Foundation Center and Support Center to find ways to kind of meet your potential partners organically, the old-fashioned ways. We have a lot of stuff like this, and we have sometimes we'll have networking events or large events, all kinds of things where people can potentially meet organically future partners, whether it's other organizations or someone who's starting a new organization, or even a funder sometimes if you're very lucky to show up on the right day. That we're trying increasingly to find ways to bring people together so that you can more easily connect the dots between what you do and other people who can kind of help you get there. Even in our library, on a day when there are no trainings whatsoever, in our library space where the facilitated networking activity happened earlier and where there will be more networking after all of this, routinely we have found people who are just coming in on an ordinary basis to do research, just find funders. They happen to bump into someone there who they've never met before, and it turns out they are both working on either very similar or very complementary projects, and we have seen the seeds of partnership we planted right then and there. We'll find there recently one of our librarians did a little bit of matchmaking and found two people representing organizations, NGOs in Nigeria who were doing very complementary types of work in their missions. The two people had never met each other before that moment when they just happened to walk into the library on that day to do research. They met, they connected, and by God, a partnership was born. And it's a thing that happens more often than you think it would. So online tools are fantastic, but so is meeting people the old-fashioned way. So there's that. Anyone else have anything to add before we see if there's any audience questions?
I would like to share, so we have a New Jersey Impact Investment event happening on Friday, and this is our fourth one. And the way that came about was through our work with the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives. And so through our relationship with them came about an investment working group. And so it was just like, well, what are we going to do with this working group? And through that, they pulled in the Community Foundation of New Jersey Community Capital Partners as investors, and then also the Rutgers Business School got involved. So through this relationship and talking about how they want to increase the impact, the social impact space in New Jersey. Through that convening and talking and this working group came for new impact investment gathering. So there's ways to go from talking about an idea to really seeing it flourish and continuing on.
Anyone in the audience have questions?
Hello, April Russell. I'm the development director from the Brooklyn Kindergarten Society, and I have a little bit of a comment, question, and combo. Something I've been wondering about over the course of this conversation was, do you have any sort of templates in terms of developing a partnership or collaboration? You mentioned that there were some MOUs available online, and I was just sort of wondering what kind of detail those MOUs go into, because I was wondering what sort of questions should an organization be asking in terms of, okay, who's taking the lead on grant writing? Who's going to make sure that outcomes are being properly measured? Who is going to be the final say on what matters? Is that the sort of thing that gets covered in some of those MOUs?
Yeah, some of that does get covered in there. It can. Where's a good source to? We have some books on collaboration and partnerships, and you can pull some for you that go into a little more step by step, like from the planning process to the approach to doing the MOU to how you wrap things up. It's not going to last forever. So we can definitely show you some of those resources in our library.
Okay, thank you.
I am Gary Oppenheimer. By the way, I love Foundation Center, but I think I found a problem in FDO. I went out in the lobby, so just to let you know. Sorry. I went on the 990 search, and I put in, find me all the 990s that have the expression food waste in it. And a whole bunch of 990s showed up, and I brought up a 990 I packed into several and said, show me where it says food waste in here, and it didn't come up. So something in the searching is not quite working quite right, so I just hope you take a look at that.
We will take a look at it, but I would urge you to skip the 990s and go into the application.
Okay.
All right, you'll make your
We'll
life a
show
lot
you.
easier.
We'll show you.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
I have a question, but just an additional thing of some of the pitfalls or things to look at. I'm a trustee of Family and Children Association, and we would, or other nonprofits, direct service agencies, have collaboration for another organization. And one of the things, and it may be a little different on Long Island, we know each other by reputation. One of the organizations with which we partner was founded by one of our board members who's a past board chair. Our current CEO is the former CEO of one of the other organizations. So reputation-wise, we know one of the things we have to watch out for is not taking our golf outings to compete with each other, but the respect of each other's organization, and also for us, founding another group, and it's the Thrive Recovery Center, and it's dynamite. It's one of the 10 New York State funded recovery centers. So the partnership made recovery come to Long Island. Which would not, each of the organizations does what is our specialty.
Right.
And that's something, Family and Children's is the larger of the 5 agencies. And one of the other things, so we have a lot of respect, but we do what we do, and we don't do what we don't do. Right.
That is
And just the one last thing about it, and I was looking at the Facebook to see what it was for the fuller description of which of the other organizations in there. It has a separate identity. And so we share that and we mutually support it.
right.
And we don't
you don't want to mission
that's an
driven.
excellent point. Right,
And-
we do very similar things and some, and complementary things in terms of training. But they have their lane and we have our lane, and that's why we work well together, and we just don't step on each other's toes, right? So we do a lot of proposal writing stuff, fundraising stuff. They tend to be a little more expansive and do more of the financial piece and HR and lots of staffing and lots of stuff. But we make sure that, we don't try to go into an area that they already are doing work in, and they do the same. So I think respect is important.
And one other issue I realize, because we have to deal with that, is not having the new program take over, get mixed up in the community's mind
Right.
of what type of agency we are. It's only one of the things we do.
Right.
And that's difficult, with not having other people, they keep coming to us for information, having them remember all that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think just to add, to Kim's point also is if there is, an area where it's similar or the same, we definitely seek them as the expertise. So for example, we have a fundraising certificate program and we're like, we're trying to figure out what to do with this. And so we definitely went to the Foundation Center because we see you as the experts in that space. We're like, so, how can we work together even more, to make this mutually beneficial for the people that we serve?
There's like a mutual respect
Yes.
involved in our two organizations, that we're careful not to be like competitors.
Yes.
And more like, how can we complement each other rather than compete with each other?
Hello, how you doing? Joshua Walker. I'm executive director of an organization, youth organization. We teach entrepreneurship skills to youth, trying to prepare them for mindset skills that take some life. And I don't really know how to ask this question. This has been great advice that you guys have given this whole panel. But after you find somebody through the website or online in general, and you see a potential partnership there, what would be your advice on how to really set that first interaction? Because you don't, also with meeting people in person, and you know in your mind you want to work with them,
Yes.
but you don't want to jump into a pitch and say, hey, this is what I do. So how do you find
Some
some
of the
level
funders were
ground?
saying earlier today,
Yeah.
don't jump into a pitch, get to know them first.
Exactly.
Right. I think that's an outstanding question, because all the stuff we talk about from fundraising to partnerships, you like, but how do you make that initial conversation? So what I would do is make it all about them at first. Like, I would definitely research them, know their strengths, what I like about them, what they do well. And I would come from that conversation from that point of view. Like, I would literally call them and say, you know what? I'm just such a fan, or I respect the work you're doing so much in this field. I love, what you're doing in this area, and this area. And I think that maybe we could complement each other's work in some kind of, in some kind of small, significant way. I'd love to get together with coffee, everything goes better on coffee. Whether it's morning or evening, but get together and just say, let's just sit down and talk about, what you do, what we do, and see if there are any ways that we could possibly work together. Like, even when people approach me or when I approach other people, it's a little bit stalkerish and kind of like, making assumptions to come to me to say, look, I got a great idea on how we can partner together. This is how it's gonna look, and this is what we're gonna do. Because really, it's coming all from your point of view. So I try not to go into it with any idea really at all. Like, I literally want to explore the possibilities. So I might have, a few ideas floating around, but nothing concrete. So that way you're leaving it open to the conversation with they, because, you don't want it to all be about what you're gonna get out of it. So it's also looking at, what are some of your goals? What are you hoping to achieve this year, next year? Here's what I'm trying to do. Maybe we can find some kind of synergy there. That's how I met my husband. Just like that. I approached him and said, let's talk about how they can do some synergy. 25 years, and 25 years later.
You didn't know what he was.
I absolutely love that. I shared with Kari, are you still in the room? Okay, earlier that, LinkedIn has definitely become my Facebook. I am on LinkedIn more than I am on Facebook. It is my professional playground. It is my sandbox. And so I am always looking for, who is the mutual connector? Who can connect us? And make sure that you connected to at least 3 people in here and that you follow up. Thank you, great to meet you. Via whatever professional outlet you choose, whether it's email, LinkedIn, or whatever else is out there. But that's my playground, and so I always see who can be the connector in between.
Yeah, and one other thing, getting back to your question, right, when you have that conversation that starts all about them, just stalk them online, right? You know everything about them when you go in. When I start dealing with someone new professionally, rest assured, I know where they went to school, I know their job history, I know what possible common connectors, aside from just people, right? Like, I see they've got an interest in an organization that I'm interested in, and those things will leak their way into the conversation somehow. And it won't be about me, it'll be, knowing an area where I'm gonna get something and talking, right? The more they talk and you can listen, the more insights you're gonna get, and that's gonna be really helpful to you when you can actually, when it's time to go into pitch mode, and you're gonna find opportunities there that you go in with one idea, which you guys were saying, but as they start talking, that idea could be something that works great, or this could be a much bigger opportunity here. You just don't know until you start doing it.
All right, so we're running short on time before we head into our closing piece of the day. But does anyone, either here on the panel or maybe a magical person in the audience, have a concise, keyword being concise, pearl of wisdom that can close us off real nicely? Microphone's coming.
Diana Rents from the Dakota Alliance. We're a women's a hub and incubator for small and medium-sized women's organizations and women social entrepreneurs. And I would say we've been trying to collaborate a lot, and there's some people who are great at collaborating, and then there's some where it just fizzles, it doesn't go anywhere. And I think there are people and organizations who know how to collaborate and want to collaborate, and others who don't. And I would say don't waste your time with the ones that don't want to. There's enough out there with the ones that do, and it's great.
That's a really brilliant point. And on that note, I would like to thank our esteemed panelists today. And at this point, I believe we're going to move into the next piece of our session. So give us a moment for transition. And stick around.
Afterwards.
Don't go yet. Don't go yet.
I knew I recognized
The room is too loud.
Back row, are we ready? Okay, thank you for those hands. It's been a long day. I hope you've enjoyed it and made a lot of good connections. So, we're in the closing remarks phase. My name is Susan Shiroma. I am the senior most librarian at Foundation Center, and it is my great pleasure this afternoon to be responsible for introducing you to the speakers who will present closing remarks at today's conference, Collaborate for Change, the Future of Philanthropy. On behalf of the team at Foundation Center, at www.foundationcenter.org, for those of you on live stream, the entire staff at Foundation Center is delighted and honored to bring you the closing remarks for today, which will focus on collaboration and the role of the board. Our closing remarks will be given by two distinguished and accomplished social sector leaders. One is in-house to the Foundation Center, Dr. Larry McGill, Lawrence T. McGill, our Vice President for Knowledge Services. Larry came to us many years ago, bringing us his research expertise from Princeton University and the Woodrow Wilson School of Public Health and International Affairs. Our Knowledge Services Department has been able to quadruple their research under Larry's guidance, and their work can be found on foundationcenter.org under the Gain Knowledge dropdown. It is with special pleasure that I am able to introduce to you a very special guest external to Foundation Center. The lead closing remarks today will be made by John C. Emmert Jr., the Chief Financial Officer of the New York Women's Foundation. Mr. Emmert, prior to joining the New York Women's Foundation, Mr. Emmert was Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of the International Council of Shopping Centers. Mr. Emmert has also served as Chief Financial Officer of CECO and Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer and Division Senior Vice President at the American Arbitration Association. He's also been, early in his career, a senior manager at Ernst & Young. Mr. Emmert received his Master's of Business Administration and a bachelor's degree in Business Administration and Accounting from Pace University. Special fact, he is a certified public accountant, leading the finances of the New York Women's Foundation. Mr. Emmert is also a member of the board of the Support Center for Nonprofit Management. About an hour ago, you met the dynamic Lakimja Maddox, who handles their strategic partnerships. Mr. Emmert is not only on the board of the Support Center for Nonprofit Management, he is their chairman, and he also volunteers his time to serve on their Audit and Finance Committee. He is a member of many professional associations, including the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the American Society of Association Executives. Suffice to say, I think we are in terrific hands this afternoon as we close our conference, and the future of philanthropy looks bright. Please join me with a round of applause for John Emmert.
Well, thank you, Susan. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Well, this is, the seventh inning stretch. I think, Larry, this is the ninth inning. They always say it's tough to close when you're keeping people from going to get drinks and cocktails. It really is tough. But I'd like to thank the Foundation Center for having me here today, as well as the faculty and panelists who participated today. I got to listen to a couple of the presentations. They were excellent. My presentation is going to bring it down another level, it's gonna talk about the board side of what the board does. It's not as exciting as those of you who may participate in collaboration efforts, but I think, it's also, it's important that we as individuals, as members of different foundations and organizations, understand how the foundations work and all through all levels of the organization. In the last session, they actually started with a question on collaboration, and I'm starting with collaboration also, since it's the theme of today's presentation. Collaboration, what is the definition? Collaboration is the act of working and willingness to assist with someone to produce or create something. Collaboration is also the treacherous cooperation with an enemy. A simple definition, but that term treacherous cooperation with an enemy is probably why collaboration sounds a bit scary and why there's a hesitation when collaborating. Better defined, collaboration is groups of funders, nonprofits, or other stakeholders aligning around a shared vision and targeting resources and activities in support of that vision. Collaboration can come in many forms, including networks, coalitions, strategic alliances. Strategic alliances are strategic co-funding, public-private partnerships, collective impact initiatives, and mergers. Having spent much of my career in the nonprofit sector as both a CFO and COO, and working with and being on several boards, I have witnessed and participated in several different forms of cooperative agreements and arrangements. Some I've helped formulate as part of management, and some I've reviewed while serving on boards. Needless to say, I can say some were successful, very successful, some were not so successful, and some have failed before they even got started. Today's program is focused on how partnerships are key to solving critical needs in the community, no matter what the form or course they take, whether it's working with a funder or grantee, working with a sister organization, or working with a competitor. Why? Because today's resources are limited. They're limited resulting from reduced funding from the federal, state, and local governments, continual switching focuses by corporate funders, and increasing pressures by foundation funders on how their philanthropic dollars are to be used. This makes it important that all organizations be open to how they can best support their activities, whether it's grant making, community support, capacity building, whatever the mission of your nonprofit is. The nonprofit sector has endured amid a shakeout that first started with a drop in donations and government funding in the wake of the Great Recession, and continues today with much uncertainty coming out of Washington, leaving many Americans without services and culling weaker groups from strong. Many nonprofits continue to undergo a painful restructuring. As a result, the call for greater collaboration has been a persistent drumbeat in the nonprofit and philanthropic sectors in recent years. The message is clear. The scale and complexity of problems that the sector seeks to address requires collaborative approaches. Further, a go-it-alone mentality will not result in meaningful impact. There is a caveat here, however. Collaboration may not always be the best strategy. I think that we closed that at the end. Therefore, funders and nonprofits must determine how well collaborative efforts will help further their mission. That said, collaboration works and has collaborative work has the potential to pool knowledge and resources for many actions towards a common goal, thus enabling faster and greater impact. It is difficult for an organization to achieve the goals of the mission without leaning on other like-minded people and institutions for support. This is where the board can play a role. What does this mean to a board? It is important for those who sit on boards to understand that their role, what their role is, and how they can and should support management. As board members, their role is for the fiduciary role. Management is responsible for running the organization on a day-to-day basis, while the collective board is responsible for strategic direction. This oversight and participation should be to ensure that the activities of the organization are consistent with its mission and vision, and that management has the resources available to achieve its operational directions. The more information the board members understand, the more informed the board members are, understanding the resources and limitations that an organization has, such as financial, funding and cash flow, staffing needs, legal and environmental matters, political, geographic and geopolitical issues, breadth and reach of services of the not-for-profit, and competition, the better the board can be as partners to you in determining how to deploy the resources and where collaboration can supplement the needs. In today's environment, it is difficult, better yet nearly impossible for an organization to be all things to all people. My bet is that there is not one person here today whose organization has all the resources or access to unlimited resources that are necessary to meet every one of your constituents' needs. At a recent board retreat I attended, a discussion took place between several board members and a panel of grantee partners. The concern that led to the expanded discussion dealt with a statement that was made by the board chair that the nonprofit's mission was not to eliminate racial discrimination and gender inequality, but rather to ignite actions and invest in bold community-led solutions. What was agreed was that the nonprofit by itself was not going to and could not eliminate racial discrimination and gender inequality, but rather it needed to collaborate with grantee partners and cohorts to continue to fund those whose missions aligned with ours. And in the end, the board agreed that this best aligned with the organization's mission. Board members need to understand and be willing to accept that the end goal of the nonprofit mission may require cohorts to get them there. As board members, we need to support management. They are the enablers, they are the ones who will be in charge and the ones who identify how the organization will work. Throughout my career, I've been involved in many collaborative deals from both the management side and board side. I'll share 3 examples with you where I've been involved in collaborations on the board side. One actually was mentioned in the last book, because I put it on my notes here, was the support center, where I'm the chairman of the board, now is cohorts here and working with the foundation center, we share space. That's a very good collaboration. It's been a short one, but that's one that's a work in progress. The second one was, I was in my office one day when I received a phone call from the executive director where I was the chairman of the board. They had been approached about a possible collaboration or a merger with another not-for-profit. Background, the other not-for-profit was much smaller, not-for-profit, working in the same market as we worked in and performing similar services. Our organization shared several of the same grantees, and we shared many of the same funders. It turned out that their management had assessed the need to explore other operational alternatives, that they lacked the resources necessary as a not-for-profit to serve their client base at the level that the board had expectations. Resource limitations included obviously cash on hand, funding options, and staff. As a result, their management and the board embarked on a detailed strategic planning process that in the end concluded that collaboration merger with another not-for-profit was the best solution for them and their community base. That was when we were approached. After several months of due diligence and discussions, both boards approved the merger. During the review, both boards' managements took the lead and assessed the benefits of collaborating, laying out a plan for the boards. The board's only role at that time was a supporting role. It was important to note that critical during the entire process was that the open and honest communications received by both both boards from management and support by the boards and the support that both boards demonstrated during the process. This merger collaboration was very successful. However, there is a postscript to that, a lesson learned, that although encouraged by the funders who supported both nonprofits, funding dollars were reduced. 1 + 1 didn't equal 2. It equaled something less than 1.5. All right? We could have done better in assessing the financial whereabouts prior to the merger, but still, this was a very successful merger. A couple years before that, I was involved as a board member in the potential combining of 2 relatively equal nonprofits. Neither of these organizations had previously worked together, and each supported different markets, but provided similar and complementary services. Importantly, mine was funded by the private sector, and the other was primarily funded by the government sector, again, mainly state funding. What started as an agreement by management to collaborate by providing shared programs in each other's markets moved to discussions emerging the two organizations. This again was when both boards got involved. Months of due diligence and discussion then occurred, costing many, many man-hours and thousands of dollars in consulting fees. While nearing the finish line, the other organization's board became somewhat confrontational about what they saw was needed to make this merger a success. Defining the combined entity's management, what it should look like, and how the new board structure should be. Not surprising, essentially, the new board would be their old board. Shortly thereafter, discussions broke down. There was equal concern by our management and board members that the direction being charted was not in the best interest of our organizations or our cohorts. Here, what started as a program for collaboration grew into combining and then takeover. The lesson learned here was a better upfront assessment of the potential partners, including the group driving the discussions, would have been advantageous to our organization. I doubt there's a single definition of success for nonprofit collaborations, but a collaboration is successful if the parties are able to work together, again. In contrast, if the parties are going in different directions, running away from each other, vowing never to collaborate again, something's gone wrong. Let me end by sharing with you 5 helpful hints for success in collaborating. First, do what you do best and partner for the rest. It is important to acknowledge that there are limits to what you can accomplish on your own. This captures positive, expansive outlook essential to successful collaboration. Don't believe that you need to be all things to all people. A board needs to consider that their nonprofit has its own unique sphere of influence. Any nonprofit, no matter how successful, can only communicate with and therefore influence a finite number of people. But when the same nonprofit collaborates with another entity, their 2 spheres of influence combine and can expand their ability to advance the shared goals of their individual missions. So collaboration definitely requires time, energy, and tons of effort, and as expected, usually at financial cost. The upside of collaboration can be enormously positive for moving the agenda forward, mobilizing stakeholders, or simply increasing the nonprofit's ability to influence a greater number of people. What's the takeaway? Mindset matters. Think positive to unleash potential success. Look for abundance through collaborative mindset. Celebrate skills, resources, and contacts that your collaborative partner shares with you. Nonprofit leaders play important roles, especially when the collaborative partner is a grant maker. Just like any other cultural norm, collaboration needs support from the top. 2, work with your partners to define success and articulate shared goals. Each partner in a collaboration should be able to answer what role they will play in this collective effort. As any sports team coach knows, keeping your eye on the ball is key. 9th inning, 7th inning, reference. At the onset of a collaboration, it's very useful to take time to jointly work out and write down what success will look like. The process of identifying shared goals should also include exploring all things that may go wrong. Looking at those potential derailments in advance will help the parties put strategies in motion to help avoid them. Jointly developing a shared vision will motivate everyone to keep moving forward together despite the challenges. It's extremely important to document what the collaboration goals will accomplish and how it will advance your own organization's charitable mission. 3, be honest. If relationships are the currency of trust, then certainly trust is the currency of collaborations. Let's face it, it's hard for many nonprofit leaders to cede control and share powers, which has to happen in order for a collaboration to succeed. Nonprofits have to trust their partners in order to share both power and responsibilities. Earning trust happens along the way, but you can look for and intentionally create opportunities to talk about trust issues and call out friction points with your collaborative partners. Some examples include discussing ways in which intellectual honesty and lack of resources could play out in a collaboration, or exploring what the norms will be for the partners to share credit, control, and be open to criticism. So be patient and keep communicating. 4, embrace mistakes, take risks. Innovation is stimulated through trial by error, improvised process, the multiple dead ends, and the reinterpretation of previous ideas. One of the potential frustrations in collaborations can be the apparent need to repeat variations of something that had not worked previously for one of the partners. Instead of being frustrated by what seems to be a waste of time, review lessons learned together. You may find that a slight tweak on what was tried before will result in progress. It is also tempting to take fewer risks because embarrassment factors of failing in front of your peers. However, when a collaboration offers a supportive environment of learning and striving together, this actually could be the right time to take a risk. And finally, 5, expect and accept conflict gracefully. Assume there will be conflict at some point in the collaboration. If you accept this, you'll be more prepared when something blows up, and it inevitably will, but it will be easy to focus on the big picture instead of the slight oversight or drop ball. The key is to determine whether the collaboration's goal is still within reach, and if so, move smoothly as possible beyond the conflict. Acknowledging the conflict, but focus on keeping the project moving forward together should be the end game. If you ignore tensions or outright conflicts, you'll miss the important signals that otherwise can lead to improvements and better solutions. Conflict managed well can often be necessary fractions that polish the final product. Finally, common lament among nonprofits, particularly boards, is that grant makers frequently encourage nonprofits to collaborate, but don't recognize the cost, and therefore don't provide the funding to the nonprofit they need, that they are simultaneously urging to collaborate. Nonprofits have to play a role in correcting this damaging dynamic. We need to self-advocate about what it really costs to deliver what a grant maker is asking for. When funders provide steady pool funding to organizations participating in aligned work, they can give organizations what they need to support staff and leaders in developing capacities for collaboration. It reduces competition among collaborating members for project dollars, and it eases the process of trust building. Grant makers also should remember that achieving the real result from a collaborative effort can take time. As a final point, never waver from sharing success. It is important to recognize those that enable collaboration. As a matter of fact, later this evening, the New York Women's Foundation, the Chief Financial Officer, is celebrating our grantee partners and grant advisory committee members. This is our 30th year anniversary, and we have invited all of our current and former grantee partners to this celebration. This is about recognizing the importance of collaboration between the foundation and our grantee partners. Celebrate successful collaboration. Thank you.
I think maybe I need to switch this on. Is that right?
It's on, I think.
Yeah. It is on, yeah.
It's on, you got it. It's just down.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
Great.
Susan and you on different nights.
Okay, all right, good. I feel a little bit like a closer. There's coming to the ninth inning with a 3-run lead, 2 men out, and the pitcher at bat. That was really great. You didn't see that like number one. You've really, taken us to, the end game here, I think, in a really nice way. I really appreciate those remarks. I think one of the things I'm taking away from them is that collaboration, like many things, is a tool. And there are places to use that tool and places where you need to just follow your mission and go forward. But I think it's going to be a really, really important tool going forward. And that's a little bit what I'd like to say in my remarks. So first, I want to thank everybody for participating in the panels and the speakers who spoke today. We really do appreciate it when you contribute your time and energy to participate in these conversations. You know, it really is, I think, a great example of that we can all get together and participate in these panels. I think that's terrific. So thank you very much for that. Let me also take a quick moment to say thank you to everybody who played an important role in pulling this event together today. You know who you are. Don't be shy. Please stand up. If you're already standing, raise your hand. And finally, thank you to everyone who came here today to participate in the event. We know your schedules are very busy. We do appreciate that you're taking time to be with us today. I could tell that you were having a good time because I could hear you on the other side of the building. So I'm really glad about that, and I hope that really was your experience here today. I have just a few final words to offer before we break for refreshments here. First, can I just have a show of hands? How many of you work out at the gym regularly? Okay. And how many of you try to get a little exercise now and then, even if you don't go to a gym? That should catch most of you, right? Okay. Well, good for you. Exercise is important. Because if you don't exercise, you're going to end up looking. But anyway, congratulations to all of you for exercising your collaboration muscles today. All right? You're going to need them to be in great shape for the work that lies ahead in philanthropy going forward. I really think that's the case. I think the workshop today really nailed it on the head. Collaborate for change, the future of philanthropy. I think that's exactly right. At Foundation Center, we imagine a future in which knowledge produced anywhere in the world by the social sector is available to all social sector organizations everywhere. That's a pretty ambitious goal, but I think that's where we're aiming. How do we make something like that happen? Simply put, it takes a network. Imagine a global network of philanthropic organizations that are drawn together by the desire to improve the practice of philanthropy by learning from each other and sharing what they know with each other. You're already familiar with networks like these. For example, Philanthropy New York, Council of Michigan Foundations, Grantmakers in Health, Environmental Grantmakers Association, Council on Foundations, United Philanthropy Forum. And outside the United States, European Foundation Center, the Association of Spanish Foundations, the Italian Association of Foundations director who's in fact in a room down the hall speaking to another group right here, right now at Foundation Center. Donors and Foundations Networks of Europe, Arab Foundation Forum, East Africa Association of Grantmakers, Brazilian Association of Foundations, Philanthropy Australia. These networks are everywhere. I could go on, but that would be a really, really unpopular decision right now. So anyway, you get the point. Networks form because they make philanthropy better. There are values that result from coming together and collaborating. There's even a global association of country-level philanthropy associations called WINGS, Worldwide Initiatives for Grantmaker Support. So the vision of a network world of philanthropic organizations where knowledge produced anywhere in the world by the social sector is available to all social sector organizations is not just a fantasy. It is on the verge of happening. But it all starts with getting comfortable with the idea of thank you, sharing knowledge with the goal of increasing philanthropy's global impact that only happen when organizations trust each other. And where does trust come from? Successful collaborations. That's where it all starts. So congratulations on improving your collaboration muscles today. The muscle tone is getting better. You're going to be all set for the future, and the work of the future of philanthropy depends on it. So thank you again for being here.
Just lower this. Thank you so much, Larry, and thank you so much, John. We really appreciate you being here and sharing a bit of your experience and insights and knowledge with us. So now the best part. We are going to move back into the library where we were earlier for the networking activity, for those of you who were there to join us for that. And we have a bit of a networking cocktail hour. We've got some wine out there for you. And those actually, there were a few other team members from Foundation Center that weren't here to stand up because they were out there getting their wine ready, so, priorities. But we really appreciate, as Larry and John said, all of you being here today, and we hope that you're bringing some really valuable tools and knowledge back to your organizations and the work that you're doing. And we hope that you will come back to Foundation Center online and in person and take advantage of the other resources that we have. Just one quick reminder again that our hashtag and Twitter are on the wall here if you're going to stay, and hopefully you've been on social media today. But I'm going to, invite all of you into the library where, in addition to some wine and refreshments, we will be having our raffle and raffling off some of our webinars, our key-based webinars, to some lucky winners. So if you didn't put your business card in the bowl up front yet, please do, and you could be a winner today. So thank you so much, and please join us in the library.